Episode 3 begins in the space above Coruscant with a big space battle. All the space battles that had happened in the previous pictures were literally out in space. And what we were saying here was that this battle was still in the upper atmosphere. We weren't quite into space yet. And that gave us a license to do atmospheric, so we could do smoke trails and flame. We could have hanging smoke and debris from damaged ships. And we could have drag on missiles. Just a bit of a different look from how space battles have been treated previously.
When George first described this scene to me, that's when I knew he was completely insane.
These pre-entry shots were a lot of fun to do. It was kind of a challenge to really make this look good. You have to depict a lot of different altitudes here as well. In the previous pictures we've seen Coruscant from orbit, and we've seen it down at the building level, but this is an opportunity to show views like this. And like this, that are higher up than we've seen before. I think by the time we got to episode 3, we were pretty practiced at doing Coruscant, so that was one of the more straightforward environments we had to deal with.
Another happy landing.
Now this is one of the first shots that I was involved in.
Which is one of my favorite.
Is it?
Well, it's one of my favorite matte paintings, especially the second half.
Right. The second half is fantastic. Those guys, I think you say did those, but I remember Michael DeComo working on this one, a guy, Michael DeComo, positioning all those ships. Just positioning the ships took him about 6 weeks or something. But this, as we know...
This was the hardest sequence probably in the whole movie to do.
Yeah, certainly one of my favorites to actually do. Certainly, it's a kind of one of those scenes in the movie that you don't think too hard about, but putting it together seemed really hard, didn't it?
God, it was certainly one of the most expensive sequences in the whole film. Partly because we're in total sunlight like this, when in reality, if you look at the previous shot, slowly you should see that this ship should actually go in underneath
the sort of the eaves of that thing, into the shadow,
the building, into the shadows, and I think that would have helped us a lot.
We set this up this time so you could see the relationship between the executive office building and the Senate building, because in the other films we never really had a good establishing shot that put those two places in proximity to each other.
What a piece of junk!
She'll make 0.5 past light speed. It may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts, kid.
This was great, wasn't it?
It's just one of them. Again, imagine, you've got, script-wise, you have an exterior shot of the city that you have to establish. And then you have to establish Padme's apartment. And then you get a shot like that. For the first time you see it, you just, it's just magical.
So this is a section of the Jedi Temple we've never seen before. We've actually never seen the base of it. So that's our miniature that we had built for episode 1, but we did modifications to add that entrance. Really nice matte painting of Coruscant here. You say Wesky did this. It turned out really well.
This is a particularly beautiful sequence in terms of the matte painting, because just the quality of light, the impending sense of doom. This is the first time that we actually see Anakin not lose it, but we see him beginning to be selfish, beginning to be self-absorbed. And I think the sky, the painting itself reflects, as well as the scene, everything that's starting to produce the turmoil in him.
I do like this moment as well, where this really sort of intense, obviously late in the day, low sun, cracking through these buildings and hitting them with this very direct light.
Hold me, like you did by the lake on Naboo. So long ago when there was nothing but our love. No politics, no plotting, no war.
Some new Coruscant locations on Episode 3 included the Opera House, where Anakin has a private discussion with Palpatine.
The scene at the opera here, it was fun to be able to do a large scene with everybody dressed up. I put my 2 daughters in the hallway, and they said they wouldn't do it unless I was in the scene with them, so I ended up with a blue face standing talking to my younger daughter while my oldest daughter is in the center talking to her boyfriend.
And I was very happy to see him finally get into it.
Another new area for Coruscant is the Imperial Rehabilitation Center. This is this emergency medical area that Anakin is taken with after he's so horribly injured on Mustafar. This is where he becomes Darth Vader.
Shot like this, the only thing real in the shot is Sidious. Everything else is digital. These are the kind of shots as an animation director I'm always amazed to just see what the visual effects supervisors and the compositors can do.